All right, so this is a suggestion via Patreon. The name of the video is They're Stealing My Culture. This is coming from Piers Morgan regarding Netflix casting of the, I don't know, is it a movie, a documentary, or a TV show? Cleopatra. Let's see what this is about, guys.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. The big budget Netflix series on Cleopatra has been hit with claims of cultural vandalism over the casting of black actress Adele James in the lead role. Cleopatra's precise heritage is a point of scholarly debate.
Not really. I think we pretty much know that she is of Macedonian and Greek origins. She definitely was not a black woman, right? I think we all pretty much know that, except for black Americans. And notice I didn't say African American. I just refuse. I don't like the sound of it. It's weird. The majority of the people who call themselves African American have never stepped foot in Africa. If anything, you're just American, bro. You're just regular, common, typical, boring American. All right. But either way, but I know that there are a lot of people in the United States of America that are black, that kind of fall under like the Afrocentrism or even like Hotep categories of individuals, right? Dr. Umar Johnson style of nonsense, guys. The people that are in America and have been in America for hundreds and hundreds of years, I'm sorry to tell you guys are West African, right? If anything, if you have anything in you, you're West African. We're talking about Ghana, Togo, Benin, Nigeria. This overall region had nothing to do with the pyramids in Egypt, guys. Nothing. For the most part, your hot spot at that very specific time was probably Mali, right? But if you are African American, right, and you're from like maybe descendant of like the Neolithic people or the Nubians, then that may be a different conversation to have, right? But the fact is, unfortunately, many black Americans are just descendant of West Africa. Nothing to do with the Neolithic people, nothing to do with the Nubians, right? So you really had nothing to do with Egypt at all. But let's see where this takes us, guys.
There's no evidence that she was black, and the casting has caused major controversy in Egypt, spurring a lawsuit and claims the program makers are erasing Egyptian identity. It's not the first casting controversy we've seen, of course, though the backlash is normally the other way round. Bryan Cranston was lambasted for playing a disabled character in The Upside, as was Jake Gyllenhaal, who starred in The Prince of Persia, despite not being Persian or a prince. And of course, Eddie Redmayne, who should...
See, the thing about it is, though, sometimes, very specifically, the actor is just that good. But I get it, you're taking away, for the most part, jobs from the very specific community you are trying to emulate on screen, right? But always think about it like this. Let's say they made I'm just trying to come up with something random, right? Let's say a documentary came out tomorrow about Barack Hussein Obama, all right? And Ryan Gosling played Obama. All right. If you think that's ridiculous, all right, then you should probably think this is probably equally ridiculous. Like, no joke, this is crazy, right? But The Little Mermaid and like, I don't know, Aladdin and all these cartoon things, guys, I don't really care. I don't care who plays who in a cartoon. But if it's like a historical figure, put some respect on the historical figure's name, guys.
A groveling apology for playing a trans woman in The Danish Girl. So is casting Cleopatra as a black woman culturally insensitive? Should we care? Isn't the job of an actor, after all, to act? Well, joining me now is legendary Egyptian comedian Bassem Youssef and author of The Case for Cancel Culture, Ernest Owens. Well, welcome to both of you. Okay, let me start with you, Ernest Owens. Off you go.
Yeah, I think that this is ridiculous. I think that she is in full range to play Cleopatra. I think people should remember that there was controversy when the late, great Elizabeth Taylor played Cleopatra, and people thought that it was inaccurate for a white woman like her to play the character.
Yeah, because there's no way Cleopatra looked like her. All right, like that, no chance, guys, right? Greek Macedonian? Nah, bro. Not like that. All right. So, the same issues afoot here. Just get the most beautiful woman in Egypt and put her in the garb of Cleopatra, and that's it. And let's move on. Right. Make sure she's a really good actress, and then that's it.
Character
Plot.
History has said that there is some racial ambiguity around Cleopatra's identity. She's definitely not white. And I think to even assume that Egyptians do not carry some level of African.
Also, you have to think about one thing. I keep stopping, guys, because this is so much going on here. You also have to think about, like, outside of the United States of America, people call a lot of things white, guys. All right. So under the eyes of some Egyptians you'll encounter, some of them most likely, based off of what I've encountered outside of this country, it wouldn't surprise me if the guy that's from Egypt calls himself white. If that makes any sense with how things actually seem to work once you start like moving out of Europe, guys.
An ancestry that can have a darker skin complexion is also historically inaccurate. So I think she's more of the ideal of what Cleopatra would look like more than Elizabeth Taylor would be. And you didn't see as much backlash for Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra compared to that.
That's a fair point. So let me go to you, Bassem. I mean, that is a fair point. Liz Taylor was the biggest movie star in the world at the time she played Cleopatra. She was not Egyptian. What's the difference?
Well, first of all, this was Hollywood before it was informed. This is where 1961, when Cleopatra by Elizabeth Taylor, we're not crazy about Elizabeth Taylor playing Cleopatra either. That was also inaccurate. I don't know where do you get the idea that we're happy that she played the role. As a matter of fact, 1961 Cleopatra movie was banned in Egypt and many Arab countries because of Elizabeth Taylor's stance towards the state of Israel, because they supported them. So I don't know where does he get this information. Second of all, this is the same Hollywood that in 1956 they cast John Wayne as Genghis Khan. So this is a time where Hollywood didn't know any better. Now, the problem for me, it's not about color. It's not about white and black. This is a very reductive way to talk about things. This is the way that Americans talk about it.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong at all, right? Americans seem to just be stuck, absolutely, completely stuck on this color, right? Like, for example, I've been to Egypt. I absolutely will never go back to Egypt. It's just, but I've been, and I can tell you right now, there's a rainbow of people that are Egyptian. Okay, I can tell you the same thing literally in Morocco, guys. There's a rainbow going on there, guys, and guess what they all are? They're all Moroccan. If that makes any sense, guys. There's no Senegalese Moroccan. They're just Moroccan, right? It's the weirdest thing in the world. I can give you two countries on this planet that I've encountered that for some reason like hyphens. And it's the United States of America. Well, let's just say United States of America and Canada, and also three, and the United Kingdom as a whole, right? You'll start to run into like hyphenated people. It's like an obsession in like English speaking countries to just separate by definition. While in other countries, like for example, I live in Spain, and I run into someone who has a much darker skin tone than me. He's Spanish. His mother and father are Spanish, but his grandparents are from like, I don't know, let's say the Central African Republic, right, or the Congo. And guess what he is? He's Spanish, right? So we just need to kind of learn to stop the separation. And I believe him when he says that he understands that that we do have an issue with that very specific thing versus the rest of the world outside of massively English-speaking countries. You'll start to realize.
I'm very sorry. Like, I come from Egypt. Egypt has a very diverse color palette. People can look like me, or they can look deeper skin tone like Anwar Sadat, who comes from a Nubian origin. It's not about black and white. It's about the continuous culture appropriation and falsification of history that has been done by what the so-called Afrocentrist movement. The Afrocentric movement started the last century as a way, in a good intention, to teach African American about their rich history of West Africa, the great empire of Benin, of Ghana, of Songhali, the great empire of Mali. But the thing is, that's why you find people like Kevin Hart, who subscribes to these theories, who claim that his ancestors built the pyramids. I'm sorry, your ancestors had their own wonderful civilization in West Africa. They are culture appropriating my culture, calling the people of Egypt of today, despite their skin tone, that they call us as invaders, they call us as intruders, and they are being erased by...
This guy here on the right is like, what are you talking about? No one does that. Bro, if you think that they don't, that African Americans don't do that, like specifically of the ilk of like Afrocentric African Americans, you're crazy. You know they do that. The word literally that's used is a Khazar, right? And that basically just means an invader, someone who came in after something fell, right? You came in after the city fell and marked it as yours. That's the overall common trope that you'll hear from like Hoteps and things like that, right? And it's just like, come on, guys. Come on. Like, we understand. What I can say, just so people don't think that I don't understand the full concept of this, we know Egypt was once Kemet, right? And in ancient Egypt, in ancient Egyptian, Kem in the word Kemet meant like land of the burnt face or something like that, black land or something in that realm. But we know Kem meant black, right? So I understand where some people are coming from a little bit, but that has nothing to do with really much, right? Very specifically in this context, I understand that Egypt was once that, and it was called the ancient Kemetan religions and all these other things. I'm aware, right? But these are still not Black Americans, right? The people that they're referring to will be the Neolithic people, along with the Nubians and the people from the Middle East, right? They all came together and made this whole new thing, right? And that was Kemet. That's it. That's it. That's it. Let them have their stuff, bro.
From our own history.
Okay,
this is something that Hollywood has done over the years.
I understand, but let me throw this back at you. There's this point that we've had so many cases now where people talk about appropriation with actors, be it their sexuality, be it their gender on occasion, be it whatever it may be. And ultimately, I always come back to one point, which is, shouldn't actors do what their job description is? Act. I mean, shouldn't any actor be able to play any part, actually? And once you start making exceptions for that rule, where do you stop?
I mean...
Is that question for me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is not a work of fiction. This is a documentary.
That's also logical.
This is a huge difference. This is not The Little Mermaid, which is like a fictional character where anybody can play anything. Cleopatra came from a Macedonian Greek origin, and the thing is, it's not about like the skin color. We don't care about if they're black or white. It's about how Hollywood is so culturally sensitive, and they're so sensitive about all kinds of minorities. But when it comes to my people, we seem to be erased. A couple of years ago, they announced that Gal Gadot, an ex-Israeli soldier who condones her.
Yeah, that sounds offensive. I'm just gonna let you know. If she played Cleopatra,
government actions, atrocities against Palestinian children, she was going to play Cleopatra. For me, this is even...
Yeah, I remember hearing that, and I was just like, whoa.
Bigger insult. And
you're trying to just absolutely just... You're trying to start something. You want this woman very specifically to play Cleopatra. I remember seeing this, and I was just like, oh my God. How that's flagrant, bro. It's flagrant.
It's not about black and white. It's about this idea of Hollywood always stealing the culture of my own people. I don't care what Charlton Heston tells you in the Ten Commandments or Steven Spielberg tells you in The Prince of Egypt, but I am sorry, Jewish slaves did not build the Great Pyramid. This has been debunked many times by historians.
Let me
so the thing is, like, we are the only people who are not allowed to tell our own... We are the
Stop him from talking right now, Pierce.
To talk about our own history.
All right, let me bring... All right,
stop him from talking right now, Pierce.
Hang on, Ernest. Let me ask you a question, Ernest, which is, how would you feel if a white actor was chosen to play Nelson Mandela?
I think that there is ridiculous historical inaccuracies there. I think that, I think what he's...
You just proved the other guy's point.
Confusing as race and nationality. And I also think that is why you don't see as many black actors upset as Cynthia Erivo, who is British, who played, Harriet, because we understand the nuances of racial identity compared to nationality.
Bro, you're conflating
versus,
issues here.
The identity of the African diaspora. So no one's upset about the fact that David Oyelowo played MLK. There may be some people.
No, there were some people upset.
Well, but others didn't, because we understood the nuance of racial identity. So when we're talking,
but again, see, the problem is that this guy here is still trying to insert himself into literally a culture that has nothing to do with you, bro, right? At all. Like, the only thing West Africa really has done for Egypt is wreck their economy for 20 years when Mansa Musa came through there with his absolute ridiculous wealth, throwing gold at people like it was nothing, right? That's the only thing the West Africa has done. And he obviously descends from West Africa. That's it, bro. You have nothing to do with these people. So you're saying one thing, but not understanding exactly what he's saying. He's saying blatantly. He understands that people can look like her in Egypt. They absolutely do. We're not joking here, right? They absolutely do. But they're not of the culture. They want more representation, in a sense, in Hollywood. Think about this, guys. Who is the largest actor that descends from anywhere near the Middle East that you can name? Go ahead and name me one in the comments, guys. Right? And I think you'll instantly kind of understand kind of what he's talking about a little bit. While this guy right here is just trying to insert himself into someone else's culture.
About race and nationality, those are two different things. But I think the issue that I want to push back on what he said earlier is that there are other actors in this film that are playing Egyptians that do not look like Cleopatra or come from there. And I just feel like the energy being focused on Cleopatra is why some people are pushing back, because this actress could easily look, by identity, looks closer to what Cleopatra could look like.
No, she doesn't.
But the rest of that cast is fairly white.
But Cleopatra probably looked more like in the vein of like Kim Kardashian.
And you're not saying anything
like before all the plastic surgeries or whatever.
About those individuals. You're only focused on Cleopatra, who's being played by this black actress. But when you look at the other cast, I don't think they're all Egyptian. I don't think they all represent the cast.
All right,
because they don't matter. They don't matter. No offense, but they don't matter in this very specific instance. They're referring to you disrespecting the overall lineage and origin of Queen, in a sense, Cleopatra. Right? That's what they're upset about. You can't take a figurehead and just change it. That's wild. Again, Ryan Gosling is about to play Barack Obama. Let's go. Who's going to complain?
All right, let me bring back Bassem. I mean, if this was in a theatre production, I could imagine this happening without people creating much of a fuss.
Right.
Is it because it's a Hollywood movie and Hollywood's put itself in the vanguard of cultural appropriation?
It's a documentary. Hollywood has been erasing my people from we are not allowed to tell our own history. And I'm sorry, I have to disagree with the gentleman. It's not about, it's not just Cleopatra. Everybody in that movie, her court, everybody who's supposed to be Egyptian, they look like they came from West Africa, from the south of the Sahara. We, as Egyptians, are being called intruders and invaders in our own culture. This has been going on systematically. I don't want to wake up one day and find the Museum of the African American Culture and History claiming the stolen Egyptian artifacts in the British Museum to be theirs. And now I'm hearing that
they're going to stop this man from talking again. This man is wild. I mean, I get it. Trust me. We shake hands. I understand, right? There's a lot of interesting things that are in the British museums that were held for safekeeping, that are that have been refused back to the countries of origins. Yes, I'm aware, but he's right. If you continue on down this path of like following all of these hoteps, right, and the people that are literally just making up Afrocentric type of beliefs to feel better about something, bro, the history of Africans on this planet is lengthy, guys, right? You don't have to take someone else's culture to make yourself feel better. That's real, right? And he's right. If you continue down this path as quote unquote African Americans, you're going to end up getting all of the things that belong to this country and putting it in the African American Museum in Washington, D.C. Watch. He's not wrong.
Zendaya, the very popular actor, who I would love her to play. But Zendaya ethnically is half Nigerian, half German, and now she's going to play. Where are the Egyptian actors? Where are the Arab actors who suppose it? And the thing is, even like historically wise, you see in the trailer, it's like, I don't care what they told you, but Cleopatra was black. Who's that woman? Why is African American people are telling my own history? She is there's all of these pseudoscience and pseudo history has been going on, and it has implications. No, I am sorry. African people from West Africa did not build the pyramids.
Okay.
Cleopatra did not like that, and also Jewish people do not build the pyramids.
Okay.
Hey.
It's time for Hollywood to listen to the people who own that history. So
Well, you've made that.
And
You've
just
made that.
one more
Bassem,
thing.
I'm gonna leave it there.
One more thing.
Bro, you gonna
Egypt had 30 dynasty over 2,700 years. We
Yeah.
had kings and queens from the kingdom of Kush.
They look like everybody.
From Nubia, from Libya. This area had bled into each other and expanded and shrunk
Yeah.
into each other.
Yeah.
I understand exactly what I mean when I say nationality
Okay.
What he
or
said.
heritage or ethnicity.
You both
So I'm
made
sorry,
your you both made your point
Yeah,
strongly.
thank you.
It's an interesting debate. Thank you both very much indeed.
I mean, let's see who made the. Well, obviously the guy from Egypt made, I think, the best points. The other guy that was there, like, kind of arguing the points, just kept like circular talking in a sense, right? There was nothing really of substance. He just kept trying to like kind of miscategorize what the other guy was saying. It was weird. Long story short, guys, Egypt deserves to have their culture represented in a way that every culture deserves to have their culture represented publicly in ways. And yeah, if they would have not, I guess if it's a documentary, then yeah, that's flagrant, guys. I mean, you're just trying to like culture jacket. It's weird, guys. That's not your culture. It really has never been your culture. Again, West Africans had nothing to do with the building of the pyramids. There are pyramids on the West. Claim those. But I understand why you don't want to claim those, because they're not world famous. But there are definitely more pyramids in West Africa than in East Africa or North Africa, right? Claim those, make those super famous, and then, you know, etc. But these are all war-torn countries, I think, that where those are, guys. But either way, listen, let me know in the comments your overall opinion. I'm super interested in knowing who you think is correct here. I'm all for an actor with enough skill playing, you know, whatever part they desire, but I am not for like history being altered. You get what I'm saying here? I think we're all better than that. Seriously. Again, Denzel Washington playing Donald Trump in the new movie. All right. Ryan Gosling playing Barack Obama. Again, what are we doing here, guys? Lenny Kravitz playing Ozzy Osbourne. You get what I'm saying here? The Rock playing Gandhi. Just think about that for a second, all right? It doesn't matter. Like, The Rock can play any other character in the new Gandhi movie, just as long as it's not Gandhi. All right, but all right, you know, it's fine. Tom Cruise plays Hawaii's King Kamehameha. I don't know, guys. Either way, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. You know, enjoy your day thoroughly.